I think, people might just pop in, but that's fine. Just keep coming over. I don't think you'll lose us if you join later. I think we'll make it very consistent or coherent story. Either way, what?
There's no thoughts inside the competition, so you can...
Yeah, it's just our experience. So basically, it's whatever pops up in our mind. We're not, our forward-looking statement is, we're not promising to be coherent, but we'll try. So we are covering the CTA journey, the good, the bad, and the unexpected. And maybe it's only the polite thing to do to introduce ourselves. So Miriam, I'm going to let you go first. Introduce yourself.
Yes. Can people hear me if I speak like that? Do I need to use it for the camera? Okay. Don't like a microphone. So my name is Miriam. I work at Salesforce as a senior director in delivery, blah, blah, blah. I'm an architect. And I'm very happy to be here today.
Oh yeah, next is me. So I'm Lilith Van Biesen. I am a principal architect at Capgemini. And indeed, yeah, so a lot of blah, blah, but mostly we want to architect. That's what we want to do.
And I'm Martin, and I'm honored because I'm standing in between two women. And if you don't know, there are like 350 something CTAs in the world. Just 20 of them are women, so I'm honored.
That's around it. So let's start with the good. And I have to admit that there were times during the journey that I was not sure that there was any good left. But there is. And so let's start with you, Martin. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences, your good experiences about learning?
It took me, the final stage took me like 2 years. I failed once. I failed second time as well. But what I learned during my first failure, during my first year preparation, was that you really learn the platform in details. Like I still don't have I don't have the full width of the Salesforce ecosystem. Obviously, it's about platform only. But I feel confident enough that I have the right level of depth. Well, maybe not the right, just depth.
For me, one of the additional bonuses of studying for this exam is that you don't just learn stuff about Salesforce. What you do learn, so outside of Salesforce, like any solution is going to need a landscape. Any integration is going to be using a protocol. And so all of that stuff that you learn is just going to be, or that you already know, if you're that way, it's just gonna stick with you, and it's gonna help you in your career, no matter where you go after. So that for me was a good. Lilith, you have two, so please take it away.
Yeah, indeed. So one of the things that for me really changed in how I was studying, when I was not going for the CTA, it was just me and my computer, like really the true nerd, looking at all the things, writing down things, taking notes that ended up in summaries. Well, they're not really summaries if they're 100+ pages, but so that's what was my method of studying. But you cannot do that for the CTA. You have to really go out there, put yourself out there, and get the feedback. And that was super scary at first, but it turned out to be really such a good thing. Because getting that feedback, it really built the confidence. I don't think I would have been standing here talking to a room of people 2 years ago, because I would have been so scared, would have been like... So, this is something for me for the CTA. One of the best things is learning how to take feedback, which is not an easy thing to do, because it's always a bit of, it can be hurtful sometimes, even if it's meant in a good way. It's just, it shows you that you need to improve on something, that you're not quite there yet. So it's humbling, but in a very weird way, it creates confidence. Because you do learn, okay, everyone has things that they need to learn. Everyone has their own things that they're not as strong in or stronger in. And that's building the confidence in the public speaking and getting to this point. Which brings me to the next one, is you're learning a lot in a very short time, and you immediately apply it in your day job. For me, it was really talking to stakeholders and saying, okay, this is my solution or this is my idea. and not being afraid if they were going to knock it down, because one of the things of CTA is think on your feet. So again, you're learning a lot, and you're growing that confidence that if somebody doesn't agree with you, it's fine, you'll manage, right?
Yes. And so my last thing about the good is actually the best, and that is the community. So we've been hearing all about community, and this is all about community. But studying and being on the path to CTA gave me access to an incredible network of supportive people, whether they were already a CTA or like me on the path. Like even Lilith, after she passed, for example, she was still spending her Friday evenings judging a mock, right? So I think, and she's still doing that. So for me, yeah, the community was the best, like it should say the best, up there. Martin.
That should be the biggest one.
The best. We are the best. I feel that the email you get once you pass is that you reach the summit, if I remember correctly. So the good thing at the end is that it's a summit and you can kind of wrap it up. It was when I first failed, it was like, should I repeat? It was tough. And then I decided to repeat, because you do have all the knowledge, as I said at the beginning, but no one really knows that, and you need to show, and maybe they need to trust. But when you say, I'm CTA, it kind of cut the debate, I would say. So when I failed second time, it was like, okay, should I repeat? And I had just those 2 sections retake, so you have to, basically, it doesn't make sense to walk away. So that was the final, I made it, so yeah, it's closed. It's closed chapter and I can move on, and I can move on with clear mind, I would say. That was super important for me. We will speak about the imposter syndrome at the end, which is kind of the same, I would say, but this was my feeling. But moving from the good to the bad, and you probably all saw this diagram, whatever it is. Pick 2, right? It can be scope, quality, or time. Pick 2, not 3. I would say the CTA is about picking all 3. And not 100%, but maybe 120%, which is again something I really hate, because I'm usually following the principle that maybe 80% is enough, but it's not enough for the CTA. You really need to go there. And the time is one of the biggest challenges to me, because to me the study for CTA has like two parts. The first one is the technical part, where you really need to understand the org flows and understand the security and understand the data model and the integration principles and the integration designs and all these kind of things. And that's kind of easy to learn. You need 15 minutes there, half an hour there, maybe an hour there to test the external account hierarchy or something like that. But then you need to prepare for the board. And to me, the preparation for the board looked like the real experience. You have 3 hours to prepare the scenario. You have 45 minutes to present, and you have 40 minutes to Q&A. So basically, you need to find 6 to 7 hours of time. It has to be one block. You can't divide it. Because if you divide it into like 3 hours and do it per part test, it will be a different experience. So it needs to be one block. So and you need to do like 10, 20, 30 mocks, something like that. So you need to find like 20 blocks, full day blocks. And that was one of the questions we got. Do I really need to give up my job for the studies and just study? And my take is, no, you don't have to, but you need to find a few free days to focus on the study for the presentation. If you can do it, cool. If you can do it over the weekend, cool. If you can do it during the week, even better. So that was the toughest.
Yeah, and then for me, I was lucky in the sense of lucky. It was COVID times when I did my CTA, so there were not that many social events or expectations. So in that regard, I had less FOMO So that was really nice because, to be honest, that is the only way that you'll find time, is by not going and not doing other things. So it meant, not going and visiting family that much, which again, during COVID was recommended anyway. So I guess I got that going for me. But even then, even if you look at work and you're just doing this one thing, you'll still get the question, already jumping to the other one that I have on there, is, so, what are you doing? What is this thing you're going for? And then trying to explain that, I actually wrote an article on how I explained it to my grandparents, just because it was really a very tough thing to do. And it's already tough for everyone in this room to explain to their grandparents what their job is. So, if you already have this job, why are you going and above and beyond, wasting so much time for this exam? Surely it cannot be that impressive, and they don't get it. Why are you in calls with people, and why do they care? All these things, and why is everyone investing time? From an outsider looking into the Salesforce community, and even from within the Salesforce community looking into the CTA, aspiring CTA community, I think there's a lot of misconceptions on how this all goes, so it takes a bit of time to kind of explain, and you need to have a social support system there. So, and that's not always easy. There's some tough conversations, like I know this was supposed to be date night, but now it's going to be mock night. So I have another date for this ball, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so what I would have really liked would have been if the CTA exam was just like a set of books that I could study, learn by heart, and practice, but then at least I would have known that I'd done what I needed to do. And so for me, I'm also taking my points at the same time. It's like, on the one hand, it's so much, but on the other hand, you never know if it's enough, and you don't even know what the material is really. There is not like a set of study materials out there that you can just do. So for me, that's kind of made my journey of studying, which is also about 2 years, also a lot in COVID times, made it a very insecure period for me. So because I like to show up for an exam very well prepared, and I just didn't know. When I did my first attempt, which I failed, I just didn't know if I was prepared enough. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, the fact that you don't know the threshold and you don't know how much over or below you are, it's just. And I remember the feedback I got when I failed for the second time. I was like, "Hey Susan, what was wrong? Like, where did I make a mistake?" "Well, you didn't really make a mistake. You just didn't say enough." Come on. And the bad thing is that you don't know everything. We still don't know everything, and that's what I really hate, because I'm proud that I'm 30 plus something certified, and I know the platform from left to right and right to left. But the CTA is just about the goal. It's sales, service, platform, community, experience. And that's it. The moment you feel that Marketing Cloud is needed for the scenario, you are wrong. If you feel the field service is needed, you are wrong. So that's a bit weird, and I really wish there would be an exam which would be even broader. Because there are so many great products. I'm not sure about the Quick, but definitely the Slack is looking promising. So that's my wish. Did we cover? I think so. Yeah.
I'll take it from here, sorry. So then the last one is the unexpected, and we have a few, things that we saw that we found unexpected. So I will hand it off to you, Martin. So the first one that you mentioned, about the technicality of the exam, I love this one.
It was the first year. The first year was technical, and the second year was all about how to present, how to answer Q&A, how to make time. I'm not sure whether we are on time or whatever. So that was my struggle for the second year. And when the people say, okay, it's technical, I feel it's not technical, because you learn on the scene all the things, all the technical things, and you remember. And then it's like about governance, about practice, about speech, about be concise, which I'm still not, as you can see.
Yeah, when I started to prepare for the CTA journey, I was a solution architect. So I was also thinking, okay, I can probably do a presentation, but I don't know a lot about integration. So for me, it was, again, also the first year was very technical, and then it turned out that I wasn't that good at presenting. So the second year was really same story, all about learning the soft skills, getting to the point, reading the room, making sure that you address the right requirements at the right level of detail. And so I really had to take a lesson in humility, understanding or realizing that I wasn't that good at presenting, that I wasn't that good in getting to the point, which I always thought was my strong suit. So yeah, that was my unexpected.
Yeah, and I think I already mentioned it to some extent. So for me, the biggest surprise was really that, oh, I cannot do this one alone. Crap. That was actually my game plan. So, okay, I need to find this community. Very luckily, there is a very strong community. And, well, we had Melissa here, but she's around there somewhere. Blonde hair, golden hoodie, very difficult to miss. So, very difficult. So, she actually created the Architect Ohana, which is a Slack group, and that's, I think, the go-to that I recommend to anyone who wants to go for it. And even if you're, maybe not quite there yet, just go. There's so many smart people there, again, about making those connections, meeting at least one new person, but let's set the bar higher, meeting 20 new people. So for sure you'll find them there, and that for me was one of the most unexpected things. And then going back into that community of people that you're looking at, and just looking and you're seeing, okay, so that person, or Martin, have you seen how many certifications he has? And you're looking around and you're seeing all these accomplished people, and you're like, okay, so this is just me, a little shrimp, in all of this ocean of well-versed fish. So it's so, a lesson in humility. But on the other hand, once you start talking to them and you're really feeling your imposter syndrome surge, you see that everyone has this, literally everyone that I talk to has their own demon or their little chip on their shoulder, their own version of an imposter syndrome. I thought now that I have the CTA, it will just go away and I'll be gone with it. You don't ever really get rid of it. You just need to embrace the enemy that is there. You just need to embrace that actually this imposter syndrome keeps you more humble. But everyone has it, and getting the CTA doesn't cure you, unfortunately.
When we spoke about Melissa, I would also say that the Slack or the related Google Drive is full of the recording of the presentations, which is how I faked the presentation, because I hate presentation. So I skipped those 45 minutes of the presentation and I just watched someone else how they do it. And I took the greatest idea, or what I thought the greatest idea, and speaking about Melissa, I'm not sure how she made so many content in her presentation, it was just incredible. But the unexpected to me, the second point unexpected was the completely missing the SMTP, the sending emails, you need to know all the details about the integrations when you do the CTA. You need to explain how the mutual TLS works, how the REST SOAP API works, what's the difference between REST and SOAP API, and what's the difference between fire and forget and response and request and reply. There is nothing about SMTP. It will just send email. Done. There is nothing about SPF, DKIM, relays, all these kind of things. That's completely missing or not needed. And that was kind of surprising.
So you would have liked to have more to study? So I think one of the things that I would have never expected to get away with, even during the board, is to say, I don't know. And so I never expected that. I'm glad it was possible. I tried it several times during my board. 2 of those items they came back to later. and one I never do, and I still don't know.
Yeah, and so maybe if we can go to the next one, because these are just some misconceptions that we hear all the time. So I just want to share them with you, and if you want to start laughing, go ahead. These are actual ones. So you have to be an experienced developer before going for the CTA. So no, you don't have. That's really another misconception.
Who is a developer?
So we're all good. you can be a developer as well, right? But in my experience, actually, it's usually more difficult for developers because they're talking about the soft skills. Like this is a chunk that you really cannot ignore, and that is more difficult if you're in a more technical role to refine than if you're in more functional area. So that's something let's talk. We'll get you there.
And actually, I would say you need to forget about it maybe a bit, because like the people who say, okay, I will create an Apex digger which will do blah 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 blah. What? Like, what will be the user experience? And I really got a question during the board, like, okay, so there will be a button somewhere, they will get an email with a link, or like, how it will work? So I explained, and they were, okay, so here's this, and they will do this, and then like, they will wait and hope for the best, or will they get any message, or what? And as a developer, you are usually too low in the details. The Apex digger is the solution. No.
Yeah, and actually one of my favorite quotes of Vinay Style, who's also a CTA, is not every technical question needs a technical solution. And that is exactly this. You have to really think about it from the user side of it as well. And does it make sense? And even if that makes sense, does it make sense in your project? Because you get a context of a company. Maybe you don't have the resources to maintain it afterwards if we go custom. Or maybe, we don't have the time, or there's an app for that. All these things you need to have in mind, and that's why it's not a technical exam. It's of course you need the technical knowledge to get a sound solution out there, and to be confident. For me, knowing the technical stuff was more about being confident that I could justify, that I could create it, and that I would have less of those doubts during the solutioning of, okay, should I go with this data model, that data model? Just thinking quicker on my feet, that's where the technical part comes in. But all the rest is really, soft skills and looking at a project from a 30, 60 degree angle. That's really what you need to do. And then, we're not walking encyclopedia. I think we covered that already. Please don't ask us stuff we don't know. And then the final one, and this is really bursting everyone's bubble, I think. A lot of people think, okay, so I have my prereqs, so where do I sign up? when do I have my board date? And I think they got this question so many times that they introduced the evaluation to kind of give a bit of a reality check, like, there's a whole that, there's so much to prepare. I was one of those, by the way. I was really like, okay, so I got my prereqs, when can I get started? But it doesn't work that way. You have to do so much to prepare, refine, and go into the structure of presentations, making sure you have that time management. So but these are mine. What are your favorite misconceptions?
Well, I like the thinking on my feet, because what they will do to you intentionally, probably during the board, is that they will change the scenario, and you need to think on your feet. The first time I got the feedback, he did not let us change the scenario. He just forced us back and back and back. And I was like, but which question wanted me to change the scenario, and which question just tested me? So you really need to listen. You need to get better in listening.
So I think a misconception that I hear occasionally, it's about the board exam itself, which is that that the judges are mean, are not there to support you. And I think one of the things that I really found out during doing the board is that they really want you to pass, right? So they're really, the way that they ask the questions, the way that they try to get you to go back if you're not saying the right things. I think that's something that really struck me.
I totally agree, and I think that's another thing that you need to learn, is how to listen to the questions. What are they asking? Are they asking it to test you? Or did you miss something? Is there a relationship that actually doesn't work? Are you missing an object? That's the thing that you need to refine. And then maybe the last one, because these, in 1 minute. The last one, because this is one that we also often get, so but what is the experience like? So maybe just Martin and Miriam, what surprised you most during the board? I'll start with
Is it, in the interest of time, is it okay if I just answer the last bullet? Yeah, I'll do it. So what surprised me most after becoming CTA is that I still feel like studying. I would have never imagined that I would still want to ever study anything again, but I'm actually thinking, what's going to be my next cert?
That's probably the biggest surprise to my wife. Like you spoke about how to explain to my grannies, how can I explain to my wife, and she really thought that once I will pass the CTA it will be over. No, there is the new Slack certification. But what surprised me most during the board, it was really the helpful judges. I really felt on each single board that there's at least one who really drives the board so I can make it. That was surprising.
Yeah, I agree. In the interest of time, I will need to wrap up, but just don't hold back. Reach out. We also have, questions coming in via the app. Please do, and we'll be around. We'll be less easy to spot than Melissa because we don't have a golden hoodie or blonde hair. But you know our faces now, so just come and reach out to us. Thanks all for joining us.